Adahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 11, text 48, I believe. Jai. So here's the Sanskrit. Naveda yagya dhyayaner na daner na chakriyabir na tapobir ughraye evam rupa shakya aham nirloke drashtum tafad anyena kuru pravira. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine. For neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charities or similar activities can this form be seen. Only you have seen this. Mate vyatama chavimudha bhavo dristva rupam goram idrim mamedam vyapeta viprita manapunastvam tadeva me rupam idam prapashya. Your mind has been perturbed upon seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free from all disturbance. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Sanjaya uvacha ityarjunam vasudevas swakam rupam darshayamasa bhuya ashvasayamasa chabitamenam bhutva puna shamyavapur mahatma. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, while speaking thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last he showed him his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. Arjuna uvacha Drisvedam manusam rupam tava samyam janardana idanim asmi sarhrita sachita prakritim gataha. When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, my mind is now pacified, and I am restored to my original nature. Shri Bhagavan uvacha Sudurdarsham idam rupam drishtavan asyan mama deva apyasya rupasya nityam darshana kankshina. The blessed Lord said, my dear Arjuna, the form which you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form which is so dear. Naham veder na tapasa na danena na chayaya shakya evam vidho drashtum drishtavan asimam yata. The form which you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. Bhaktyatvānanyaya shakya aham evam vidurjuna gyatum drashtum cha tatvena pravishtum cha parantapa. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Mat karma krinmat paramo madbhakta sangavarjitaha nirvaira sarvabhuteshu yasamam iti pandavaha. My dear Arjuna, one who is engaged in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of previous activities and from mental speculation, who is friendly to every living entity, certainly comes to me. Chapter 12, Devotional Service. Arjuna uvacha evam satata yukta ye bhaktastvam paryupasate ye chapyak Ksharam avyaktam tesham ye yoga vittamaha. Arjuna inquired, which is considered to be more perfect, those who are properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? Shri Bhagavan uvacha maya vesha mano ye mam nitya yukta upasate shradaya parayopetas te me yukta tamamataha. The Blessed Lord said, he whose mind is fixed on my personal form, always engaged in worshipping me, with great and transcendental faith, is considered by me to be most perfect. Yetvaksharam anirdesham avyaktam paryupasate sarvatragam achintyam cha kutastam achalam dhruvam saniyam yendriya gramam sarvatra samabudhaya te prapnuvantimam eva sarvabhuta hite rataha. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons, engaged in the welfare of all, at last achieve me. Okay, I think that's all of them. So tomorrow will be text 5 of chapter 12. Now we're on chapter 11, text 48. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine. For neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charities or similar activities can this form be seen. Only you have seen this. Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai. Purport. The divine vision in this connection should be clearly understood. Who can have divine vision? Does anyone have any guess? Okay, we've got devotee, those who have the eyes to see, Arjuna. These are all good guesses. Let's see. Who can have the divine vision? Who is that? Sura, like a demigod? Sura. Divine means godly. Okay, so that's Sura means godly too. Divine means godly. Unless one attains the status of divinity as a demigod, he cannot have divine vision. Okay, so it's a demigod. And what is a demigod? It is stated in the Vedic scriptures that those who are devotees, ding, 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 of Lord Vishnu are demigods. So Arjuna is also a devotee. So all those answers were correct. Those, and Bhaktaji's is kind of an all-encompassing answer. He said, those who have the eyes to see. So that's also accurate. Those who are atheistic, i.e., who do not believe in Vishnu, or who only recognize the impersonal part of Krishna as the supreme, cannot have the divine vision. It is not possible to decry Krishna and at the same time have the divine vision. One cannot have the divine vision without becoming divine. In other words, those who have divine vision can also see like Arjuna. So why can the atheist Or those who only recognize the impersonal feature of Krishna not see like Arjuna? Yeah, those who decry Krishna, those who are against Krishna, Krishna is a person. So why would he favor them by giving them the wonderful opportunity to see his amazing form? So those who decry Krishna cannot have this divine vision. The Bhagavad-Gita gives the description of the universal form, and this description was unknown to everyone before Arjuna. Now one can have some idea of the Vishvarupa after this incident. Those who are actually divine can see the universal form of the Lord, but one cannot be divine without being a pure devotee of Krishna. The devotees, however, who are actually in the divine nature and who have divine vision are not very much interested to see the universal form of the Lord. So the devotee is not very much interested, and thank you for everyone being here, and I'm very honored to give the class and the association of so many great devotees here at Rupanuga Vedic College in Kansas City. RVC Ki Jai. So the devotees aren't interested in the universal form because, does anyone have any guess? That's pretty good, because it's not eternal. It's kind of impersonal. And you can't have very many loving exchanges. Yeah, these are all actually really good points. One point I heard on this was that the devotee wants to serve Krishna, so they want to see him in a form or a place where they can render the most service to him. So if you think of this great, all-pervading, gigantic form, seeing the whole universe, it's difficult, like Magadari was saying, to have some loving exchange with such a form. And then it's also difficult to serve such a form. You're seeing the whole universe. What are you going to do? We see one way that Arjuna serves this gigantic universal form is that he offers these very nice prayers to Krishna. One of Krishna's names is Uttama Shloka. That means he is praised with choice words. So Arjuna offers these nice prayers, but the devotee wants to serve Krishna as much as possible. So having this great desire actually elevates the devotee to the most close association of Krishna, where he can do the most service. So that's why the devotees aspire to be in Goloka Vrindavan, because there everyone has the most close relationship with Krishna, where they can render the most service to him. As described in the previous verse, Arjuna desired to see the four-handed form of Lord Krishna as Vishnu, and he was actually afraid of the universal form. In this verse, there are some significant words, just like Veda Yagya Yanai, which refers to studying Vedic literature and the subject matter of sacrificial regulations. Veda refers to all kinds of Vedic literature, namely the four Vedas, Rig, Yajus, Sama, and Atharva, and the 18 Puranas and Upanishads, and Vedanta Sutra. One can study these at home or anywhere else. Similarly, there are sutras, Kalpa Sutras and Mimamsha Sutras, for studying the method of sacrifice. Danai refers to charity which is offered to a suitable party, such as those who are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. Similarly, the pious activity, this is a nice point. So charity, Danai refers to charity, which is offered to a suitable party. So a suitable party for charity is, we understand, is Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, because there's a nice example where if you find a wallet on the ground, if you take the money from the wallet, or take the wallet, then you're a thief. So that's the third class person. If someone takes the wallet they see the wallet on the ground, they figure, okay, it's not mine, I'll leave it there, then that's the second class person, because they're not taking it for themselves, but also the person who owns it isn't getting the wallet. So then the first class person is the one who takes the wallet and brings it to its original owner. So like that, the devotees or the Vaishnavas, they can accept what is already, everything is Krishna's, so they can accept what is already Krishna's and give it back to him in the sense of using it in his service. So, pious activities and the voluntary acceptance of some bodily pains are called tapasya. So one can perform all these, can accept bodily penances, give charity, study the Vedas, etc. But unless he is a devotee like Arjuna, it is not possible to see that universal form. Those who are impersonalists are also imagining that they are seeing the universal form of the Lord, but from Bhagavad-Gita, we understand that the impersonalists are not devotees. Therefore, they are unable to see the universal form of the Lord. We meet a lot of people on book distribution, like at music festivals and things like this, who think or even at Lewis Park, who tell us they've seen God. And you don't really want to ask them to give much more of a description than that, because once they describe whatever they supposedly saw, it gets pretty weird. But they'll say that they saw God, but it's just some imaginary form. Because Krishna, he's the most pure, actually. So to actually accept someone's statement that they have seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead when they're performing all sorts of impure activities, it's actually offensive to Krishna, because he's the most pure. So it's taking him so cheaply. If someone says, oh yeah, I saw Krishna yesterday, he was playing the flute and telling me to come over to him. But we see they're performing nonsense activities, they're not a pure devotee. If we actually accept that, then we're also offensive, because we're thinking Krishna is so cheap that he'll actually reveal himself to someone who actually doesn't actually have any real love for him, which is ultimately what he's looking for from the devotee. Because if someone's engaging in sinful activities or things against what Krishna would want them to do, then they clearly don't have love for Krishna. So to accept that such a person is seeing Krishna actually becomes offensive even on our part, just taking him cheaply. Like we hear often in all of the amazing books that we have the opportunity to read from Srila Prabhupada, also a lot in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, of this class of people, usually in India, probably all over now, I don't know, but called sahajas. That means they take devotional service very cheaply. And so they'll say things like that. Oh, Krishna yesterday was playing the flute and asking me to come dance with him or whatever. But then afterwards they go and smoke marijuana or eat whatever, all sorts of abominable things. So we can know that such a person actually has no qualification for seeing Krishna, because he's the most pure. So how can they see him and engage in all impure activities? Yes, Mogadari Prabhu?
So on this point, it's kind of coming up. So somebody, if they do nonsense things according to what we think is nonsense, then we say you can't see Krishna because you're not pure. But what happens if we just follow these 4 regs? Is that the qualification for us to see Krishna?
That is one of the qualifications, is following Krishna's instructions. So those instructions are given in the Shastra, and then they're also given from the saintly persons and the Guru. So we see if someone's actually not listening to anything Krishna has to say or following any of his instructions, but they're saying, oh yeah, I go and dance with Krishna all the time, then we can see this is actually bogus. And it's offensive, because they're he's the greatest of the great. So to think we can approach him in some nonsense way, it doesn't really add up. Trying to think of like an example with a person. I don't know. You can't. No one compares to Krishna, but maybe if there's like the president, and then there's some like drunk person who just hangs out on the sidewalk at the White House, and they're saying, "Yeah, I'm always hanging out with the president." It'd be kind of if we walked in the White House and then said, "Hey, I've been talking to your best friend a lot." It'd be offensive because they're thinking, "What? This person he's not even following the laws that my government has put in place, and you're saying that he's my best friend. How can this person be my best friend?" So I don't know, though, some kind of example. But yeah, one symptom of actually sincerely wanting to know Krishna and serve him is that we follow his instructions. And we're eager to hear what he has to say. So that's all given in the Bhagavad-Gita, and then also in the Bhagavatam. If we're eager to hear the message of Krishna, Krishna blesses that devotee with everything that they need to come back to him. So that's what's so amazing about Srila Prabhupada's books and reading them is even if we're not eager right away, if we read them, we're becoming purified because we're associating with someone who is very eager to hear about Krishna and glorify Krishna. That's Srila Prabhupada. And all the other great personalities that are in these texts, like Arjuna and Narada Muni, and all these great personalities, Lord Chaitanya. So when we're reading these, we're associating with these personalities, and then by hearing and associating with them, we get that eagerness. And if one is eager to hear the message of Krishna, Krishna makes their path back to him very easy. So even if the eagerness is not there right away, we can diligently try to just keep on hearing from Srila Prabhupada's books. That eagerness comes, and then Krishna will very happily make that devotee's path back to him clear. There are many persons who create incarnations. They falsely claim an ordinary human to be an incarnation, but this is all foolishness. We should follow the principles of Bhagavad-Gita. Otherwise, there is no possibility of attaining perfect spiritual knowledge. This is nice. Srila Prabhupada makes it very simple. There's many points that he'll repeat many times throughout all of his purports, and they're very straightforward. So he says we should follow the principles of Bhagavad-Gita. Otherwise, there's no possibility of attaining perfect spiritual knowledge. So, well, one, that would mean we have to really know what are the principles of Bhagavad-Gita. And then two, we understand that we can't just write any of them off. Well, maybe that one not so important, maybe that one. No, actually, Srila Prabhupada is saying if we don't specifically follow the principles of the Bhagavad-Gita, there's zero possibility of achieving perfection. So that's actually really helpful. That makes it pretty clear. Although Bhagavad-Gita is considered the preliminary study of the science of God, still, it is so perfect that one can distinguish what is what. The followers of a pseudo-incarnation may say that they have also seen the transcendental incarnation of God, the universal form, but that is not acceptable, because it is clearly stated here that unless one becomes a devotee of Krishna, one cannot see the universal form of God. So one, first of all, has to become a pure devotee of Krishna. Then he can claim that he can show the universal form of what he has seen. A devotee of Krishna cannot accept false incarnations or followers of false incarnations. And we heard twice in these verses, Krishna was saying, not by all these different activities can one see this form. And here we're hearing what is the qualification. If it's not all those activities, what is it? Being a devotee of Krishna. Are there any questions on that verse and purport? Jai Keshava Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. This is sort of in the same vein as Magadari's question. So where does the Lord's mercy come in? Where does the Lord's mercy come in? So many other faith paths, especially Christianity, talk about this mercy of the Lord, but yet they do all sorts of nonsense, and so they think they're going to get the mercy. And so how do we understand mercy in our path? Or
getting all of these instructions to not do nonsense is great mercy. Because before we heard any of this, maybe our whole life, every hour of the day was structured specifically around doing nonsense activities. And we didn't know what was better. We're just stuck in it. But then we get some of this knowledge, even just a small book like that big fits in the pocket. If we read maybe even one page or a few pages of one of these small books, which is just delineating Krishna's instructions, and from that we're able to give up all of these nonsense things. So that is mercy. It's coming down. Krishna is giving us the whole process is descending like a rope. If someone's in a forest fire and a helicopter comes by and drops a rope and you can climb up, it's like that. It's like that. He's giving us the help from outside. Like if there's a bug trying to get out of a room, I've heard this analogy, it keeps bumping into the window. It'll never get out unless someone of a superior power comes and opens that window for it. So, this knowledge is Krishna's mercy, and these instructions are Krishna's mercy. So then it's up to us to actually take that mercy. So if someone's just saying, okay, I've accepted Srila Prabhupada, so now I'll just do whatever nonsense I want and wait for the mercy. That doesn't make any sense. The mercy is right there in him saying, don't do any of the nonsense. And then we might think, well, I need more mercy than that. Well, he also shows in so many different details how to not do all of these nonsense activities. So that's actually I also hear this analogy or example sometimes. People come up to different gurus and spiritual masters and they say, oh, please give me your blessings. And then think it's okay, that's it. Like, it's just something you go up and just like if they're giving you some object, just please give me the blessings. And then, but their blessings is that they give transcendental instructions. And so that's the real benediction. And then it's on us we take up those instructions. But we see that misconception often that, okay, if I just believe in a representative of God, or if I just accept God, then the mercy will happen. Whatever that means, that doesn't even really doesn't make much sense. It's not a very substantial statement, but I just accept God, and then somehow or other it'll work out from the mercy. But his mercy is that we actually accept him by accepting what he's giving us, his instructions. Yes, Prabhu?
You mean to say that
do I mean to say blessings are not required? Yeah, no, the blessings are required, but the blessings are they're giving us their instructions. So if we want to really get the mercy, that means we actually take advantage of those instructions and carry them out. It's not just, okay, they told me do like this and don't do like this. I got the mercy. Now I'm going to go do whatever I want. But they gave me an instruction, and so now I carry it out, and that's the mercy, because that instruction is exactly like if we're hearing from a bona fide representative of the Lord coming in parampara, that instruction is exactly what Krishna wants us to do in order to come back to him.
But if I look at Srila Prabhupada's father, Gaur Mohan De, was requesting and begging blessings of all the Vaishnavas, and he was requesting all the Vaishnavas to bless Srila Prabhupada when he was a boy. And he was telling, please bless him so that he will become a devotee of Radharani. That was the prayer and he was begging for blessings.
Yeah, the blessings of devotees, or even of anyone, is important. Like, we want to get the blessings of others. We see Dhruva Maharaj in the Bhagavatam. He perfected his devotional service, and the associates of the Lord, the Vishnu Dutas, came on a personal airplane for Dhruva Maharaj to pick him up. And he could have just left right then. He's done with the material world. He can go back to Godhead. He could just say, see ya. But actually, he went around to all the other devotees who were there. He did his sadhana, his different duties, went to all the devotees who were there and asked for their blessings, and then went on to this transcendental airplane. So he could have just said, see ya. But we actually are seeing what is the proper way to do things from his footsteps. So he's getting the blessings of all the devotees. So blessings are actually, they're very important. But the other point was just that it's not like I can just do whatever I like, ask for the blessings, and then do whatever I like again and expect that it'll all be fine next time I ask for the blessings. Like, we see people do that. They think, okay, I'll do all nonsense, go to a spiritual place on the weekend, ask for some blessing, do all nonsense again next week, and expect it all to be fine. But that's actually one of the offenses to chanting the holy name, is this idea that if I'm engaging in devotional service or chanting the Lord's name, then I can just keep doing my nonsense activities, and the power of it it'll keep wiping it out. But it's actually offensive. It's like taking advantage, and we won't make advancement in that way. I think Ananda had one before. Well, actually, Bhakta Gio had one, and then Ananda had one. Okay, you can go ahead, sir. Did you have a comment on this point?
I was just going to say that on this point of whether one is seeking for a blessing for some particular thing, or the spiritual master gives them instruction, there's actually no difference on the transcendental platform, because that's still the same will of the Lord that if you go and say, can I do this? And he gives blessings to do, can I become devotee? Can I do this action? It's the same if he gave that as an instruction to you. It's the same. So, just wanted to make that. Yes. Same thing, when you seek, he also empowers. Yes, this is good. Because he wouldn't approve or give blessings if it was some nonsense thing. If you went, Guruji, can you give me blessings to do this? He wouldn't give blessings if it was something wrong, actually. So it's the same if he just personally told you that. But it's the same on the end is the same.
Jai. Okay.
Vaishnava, maybe on a different platform. If he's a Kanishta Adhikari, he can't discriminate very well. That's the lowest third grade. If he's a second class devotee, Adhyamanakari, he has to discriminate who to associate with, who to be merciful to. One of the qualifications is he's kripa to those who are innocent. They're not necessarily devotees, but they're willing to hear. So his blessing to them is that tries to inform them about Krishna. And a first class devotee on the topmost platform, he's giving his blessings out all the time. Maybe difficult to understand how, but everyone's getting. So the blessings of Lord and the devotees are certainly causeless. And if we get those blessings, then one of the proofs will be that our faith increases. Our faith in Krishna, our faith in the devotees. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Bhakti Gio, you had a question?
So how do we figure out whether someone is a bona fide representative of Krishna or a bona fide devotee of Krishna?
You get the Science of Self-Realization book from Srila Prabhupada and turn to the chapter separating the saints from the swindlers. And there's a whole section actually on what is a bona fide guru and a bogus guru. But essentially, a real guru is one who is just speaking what Krishna says. And he's addicted to glorifying Krishna. He's only speaking about Krishna. That's all that he speaks about. And accurately. Not saying any of these misconceptions that we hear in all of these misinterpretations of the Gita now, where they say, don't surrender. When Krishna says, surrender unto me, he means surrender unto something else, which isn't actually even a correct grammar. But so it's not that they don't say something like that, but they actually say, okay, Krishna says, surrender unto me, so you surrender unto Krishna. So it's someone who's giving Krishna's instructions as they are, and they're always speaking of Krishna, glorifying Krishna. Everything they're doing is for Krishna. And there's some more detailed, specific qualifications that we can read, like in Prabhupada's books. Mm-hmm.
On the point about the getting the blessings and things like that, there's that one verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lava Matra, like that. I don't know it actually, but
Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hai. Kadamba Kanana Maharaj records it like that. He's got a really nice song.
So I just wanted to bring that up, even one moment with that devotee. And it said that there's also, in the Nectar devotion, there's some explanation that if the devotee has some well wishes for you, or glances at you, or you see his smile, all these things are really potent ways to make advancement. And as Maharaj said, you get faith. So, and there's been so many times when different stories of Prabhupada, they just see Prabhupada in the airport or something, and then their life is changed. Or that one devotee, Pigpen or something. There was one devotee in France, right?
Somewhere in Europe.
Somewhere in Europe. And then you probably know better.
Okay, there is a devotee who is, the devotees would go on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada. This, I think, was in Europe. Indradyumna Swami tells this story. They'd go on a morning walk, and when they would pass by this park, there was some homeless person there. He couldn't even speak, smells really bad, intoxicated, and crazy. But one of the walks, he ran out to Prabhupada to touch his feet, and the devotees tried to take him away from Prabhupada. And somehow or other, then one of the walks, he made his way into the temple. And I think he ran up and grabbed Prabhupada's feet and was crying or something like that. And Prabhupada had let him touch his feet, and he told him it's okay. And so that person, he stuck around for some time. And the devotees were a little disturbed by it. And then Indradyumna Swami said they were going out for Sankirtan, and they had this name for him because he smelled bad and was dirty and all of that when they first saw him in the park, called Pigpen, which Indradyumna Swami says wasn't a very nice name. But so he was in the van, and they were saying, "Come on, Pigpen, what are you doing? You're not going out to distribute books or whatever." He says, Sankirtan. And so they go out to one of the parking lots or wherever, and the devotees start taking their prasadam. And before they're even finished with the prasadam, they see Pigpen's not with them. They're like, okay, he probably ran off, he's not actually gonna do anything. And then by the time they were all set up with their books to go out, he comes back to the van without any books, said, Pigpen, what happened to all your books? Did you like throw them out or something? And he said he had distributed all of them. They're like, what? How? What did you say to the people? And he just said, Prabhupada saved me. And so that's what he was saying to people, and he was distributing the books. And then later he became a fixed-up devotee and was initiated and was like sane and functioning and distributing a lot of books and doing nice service. So yeah, the power of devotional service and the mercy of a pure devotee is such an incredible thing. You can see it totally transforms someone, no matter what material situation they might be in. Thanks for bringing up that story. So we can do the next verse. Your mind has been perturbed upon seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free from all disturbance. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Purport. In the beginning of Bhagavad-Gita, Arjuna was worried about killing Bhishma and Drona, his worshipful grandfathers and masters. But Krishna said that he need not be afraid of killing his grandfather. When they tried to disrobe Draupadi in the assembly, Bhishma and Drona were silent, and for such negligence of duty, they should be killed. Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna just to show him that these people were already killed for their unlawful action. That scene was shown to Arjuna because devotees are always peaceful, and they cannot perform such horrible actions. The purpose of the revelation of the universal form was shown. Now Arjuna wanted to see the four-armed form, and Krishna showed him. A devotee is not much interested in the universal form, for it does not enable one to reciprocate loving feelings. A devotee wants to offer his respectful, worshipping feelings. Thus he wants to see the two-handed or four-handed Krishna form, so he can reciprocate in loving service with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Are there any last comments or questions? Bhakti Avatar, you're doing something with your hand?
I was wondering why that generally the devotee doesn't, or we were kind of saying earlier that there's not so much easy way to necessarily have a personal relationship with the universal form, but how to kind of understand that when Krishna himself, the whole universe is within him already. So what actually separates that universal form and then Krishna's form? Because there's the pastime of Mother Yashoda looking into his mouth, but that's just through baby Krishna. So
yeah, the difference is that by the devotees' love of Krishna and their service to Krishna, he agrees to actually appear in such a way that they can offer this intimate service to him, like you're saying with Mother Yashoda. So this whole month, we will be able to get absorbed in this Damodarashtakam and this pastime of Mother Yashoda with Krishna. And in this pastime, it's such an amazing example of how the Supreme Personality, like you're saying, the whole universe is emanating from him, and it's like nothing for him. Oh, yeah? All right. Yeah. Okay, yeah, the whole universe is emanating from him. All the universes, they're very small compared, they're within Krishna, but still, by the the love of his devotees, this is such an amazing characteristic of Krishna, is even though he's the most supreme proprietor of everything, he agrees to accept their service in a very intimate way and even become under the control of his devotees, even though he's controlling everything. But we see Mother Yashoda is able to bind Krishna by her love. Yes, Ananda Prabhu?
Just to add a little bit. So Prabhupada makes the point elsewhere that the demigods, they're impressed by the universal form. Those who are impressed by Krishna's opulence, they worship in Vaikuntha. Those who are more impressed by Krishna's sweetness, they worship in Vrindavan. So it's just a matter of what's more impressive, what one was attracted to. So We know the universal form is part of Krishna, but we're not so much impressed by it. We're more impressed by Krishna's sweetness. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki jai.